Hey guys, it's Tony Nation with the Actors Connection InterAct live webinar. I'm so excited to have today one of my just great friends and one of my favorite casting directors, Liz Ortiz-Mackes. How are you today?
I'm great, Tony, and we work so well together. We just got down to the wire with all the technical issues, and you know what? You're a pro, and so am I, and we ain't playing. So
that's right. And this is
glad to be
your
here.
first Google Hangout, right?
My first one with you guys, yeah.
Awesome. So amazing. So, hey, Liz, if you'd share with our viewers today just a little bit more about who you are, what you do, because it's interesting that you are a casting director as well as a producer. You wear many hats.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's great to wear many hats because that, and what I say really cross-pollinates to you guys, which is why I'm going to approach it from this perspective. And Tony, I think you would understand this as well. You wear multiple hats. And I think it makes for a very fluid life, and also it maximizes potential for opportunity and for always moving forward and doing work that is meaningful. So I started casting solutions in 1998, and probably 2009, 2010, started or added actually producing to the casting component with my growing love of independent film, and also as a business person to become more valuable in the marketplace. So I had more to offer. And then from an artistic point of view, I love good scripts, and I switched up my mindset with casting, where for many of those years, I was like any business person. I'm on my hustle for the next gig. When producing really became a passion and I could just embrace the art of collaboration, I really became centered on scripts and fellow artists to work with. And I really feel that has really shifted the paradigm for myself, and to be very content and really to enjoy artistic success. And that's the short answer to how I found myself doing this kind of multiple hat wearing work with casting and producing.
That's awesome. You know, one of the things we talked about this before, we did a podcast together, and it's been one of our most popular podcasts that's actually offered by us, which is interesting. But the title was Diversity in Casting.
Right.
And I know that's one of the reasons why you cast. So if you'd like to share a little bit more about that.
Yeah, and it's funny because this has been a passion of mine before it was cool, which I'm very proud of. And I actually have aligned more with the term inclusion, because diversity now is turning into a trendy topic. It's a hot button issue. The political climate, the global climate is at a critical high in terms of hypersensitivity. At the end of the day, I want to be as inclusive in my casting practices to reflect the narratives that I believe should be told. Number one, they have to be beautifully written. Number two, it could be a story that maybe I've heard or seen before, but it's in the telling of the story and in the emotional engagement that we're going to have on that journey. It doesn't mean that every film has to be my favorite. It doesn't mean that I have to absolutely resonate with the material. I'm running a business, but the writing has to be good and the casting has to be thoughtful. And even if a content creator or a decision maker, like a producer, director, or a screenwriter, even if they go in a different direction, at least I gave them creative options to think about, where it could be a gender issue, a cultural identity issue, a mixed ability issue. When I say mixed abilities, I'm not a fan of the word disabilities because that sounds like disadvantage. I like mixed abilities because we're all mixed up in our own way, and we all create a population by our experiences. So who's to say one is at a disadvantage or another any more than the mandates of society and culture? So I like to get people to think how successful I am with my personal choices. That's hit or miss. But at the end of the day, actors that are masters at their craft, number one, forget diversity, forget inclusion, forget that. Actors who are masters at their craft, on that talent pool, how inclusive the text will give us the room to be as creative as possible. But again, the script to me it starts with the script. That's it.
Awesome. Again, you bring such a unique, I think, point of view on everything that we speak about. And I love that. I love inclusion, and that we're able to actually think outside of just the traditional concepts.
Oh, it's so boring.
It's what makes it exciting. It makes it, unique.
Right.
And actors being given breaks where they never were given breaks before.
I love that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I know a lot of your films have gone on to film festivals.
Yeah.
And you've had the opportunity to go to film festivals many times. If an actor ever has a chance to actually go to a film festival, what would you recommend to them as far as how to, get value out of it and kind of work that system in itself?
Well, yeah, you have to work the system, freak the system. Absolutely. So I feel, especially in any major market, San Francisco, New York, LA, Chicago, even remote areas, you look within a 100-mile radius, you're going to find a film festival somewhere on this planet, which is great news. So, start with your backyard, see which festivals of merit are in close proximity to you. You can start there. And then my other piece of advice is try to go to either, if you can, the opening night or the closing night. Usually with your ticket admission, which might be slightly higher than the evenings in between, a lot of times that gives you access to the after party. So without being intrusive or rude, but just to be in the spirit of the celebration of a film festival's inaugural launch, the first night, the closing night, it's wonderful to come up to filmmakers, in a very sincere way, because we can spot somebody that just wants a handout or wants an opportunity. But if you are really speaking from a place that you were moved artistically or emotionally, whatever that is, and usually with film festivals, you're going to see evocative work. So this is not a difficult thing to do. So if you go in the opening, there could be an opportunity to socialize. The other thing that I would say is go see a block of shorts, because usually they show about 5 or 6 in an hour and a half or 2 hours. Some could be 20 minutes, some could be 5 or 6 minutes long. And usually, even after a screening of a feature length, there's a talk back. Stick around for the talk back. Again, this has to come from the heart. This has to come from an intelligent place. People can spot if someone's being inauthentic, they're not being genuine, and you then approach in a nice way afterwards. I really appreciated your work, what you had to say as an actor. These are the type of stories that I want to bring to life. Is it okay if I can stay in touch? I can find your email on your website, or there's always a way to do it that's not so personal or intrusive. There's a way to sort of get your point across, but maintaining boundaries. So it's about working smart. But those are a couple things that I would suggest for film festivals.
Awesome. You've cast a lot of indie film.
That's all I do.
Of your personal favorites that you've cast?
I would have to say there's 2, and probably I love them all. No, I'm gonna have to say there's 3.
Okay.
There's 3. The first one was several years ago to get attention, and still does to this date, is a cult classic, in the horror genre called Zombie Honeymoon. They play it on Showtime. It's made the top 13 lists of zombie films. And what I love about it is that it's so well written. It's a zombie film that really is approaching that old school indie tradition. And it has a classic spin on that genre. So that one, it's still maintaining quite a fan base and a lot of popularity. That would be one. More recently is the sci-fi for smart people, a film called Advantageous, which is making top lists all the time. Got featured in O Magazine. It was nominated for Independent Spirit Award this year. Went to Sundance, and I am such a fan of Jennifer Fong, who's the one of the writers and the director of it, and she is so brilliant. And it was ultra low budget. It looks expensive, and I'm like the micro budget indie queen. That's pretty much the space that I live in. That's where the filmmakers notify me, and we go all in because I'm a sucker for a great team and a good script. And that film, I have to say, as an audience member, it would stand out as a favorite for me. So obviously, as somebody who was part of the collaborative process, I worked on the casting for that, and I was also a co-producer on it. There's a lot of gratification with that film. It's currently on Netflix. I recommend it highly. And then the third that I have to mention is a short that did really well recently in the festival circuit, called The Bravest, the Boldest. And I'm so proud of the first-rate actors that were in that piece. And it did beautifully nationally and internationally. So those are the three that immediately I have to acknowledge.
I just wrote all three down.
But they're all my favorite.
Awesome. I just wrote all three down. I'm going to check them out.
Okay, great.
Yeah, awesome. And again, I'm a big fan. So, hey, we have a lot of questions now that have been generated. So we're going to get into questions. If we get down to, last 5 minutes and still have a lot to go, we might do a speed round, just answering by a couple of lines, okay? So first question, this is actually out of our chat room because I love it. It's from Julie Pham. Julie is asking and says, hey, Liz, thanks for doing this. What can we actors do to follow up after an audition callback when we don't hear anything back after day 1, 2, 3, etc.? Right. How can we get closure when we don't hear back at all?
Well, hey, Julie, I actually know her. That's funny. I recognize the name. I'll tell you, especially with independent film, and I always say this to my clients, they're all like, yeah, we're going to start this date. I'm like, no, you're not. The date is never the date. And what happens is it will create a ripple effect. So I would say if you give it at least a week, because stuff happens behind the scenes. We're raising money. We're dealing with the youth. There's all this stuff that has nothing to do with your amazing audition. So I would say give it a week and send a short but very gracious email acknowledging the positive experience you had in the room. And don't ask for anything, just acknowledge. That's what I would say.
Awesome. And I don't expect, also an email back. At least just put it out there. That's what I would say as well.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
I get asked all the time. I just did a seminar at your place just the other night. I get asked what's the best way to be in touch. And I do provide an email address, and I say, I look at everything. I don't answer the emails because that would be a full-time job, but trust, I look at every email that comes in. I read everything.
Awesome.
So yeah, thank you for that.
Excellent. Hey, next question. This is from Cameron Moir. Cameron says, hey, Liz, just wondering how much social media online following plays into your castings these days, if at all. Thanks, Cameron.
Hey, Cameron. I have heard the conversation, and I am not shy about giving my opinion to producers, money people, what have you. And I say, sure, you want to look at the stats? Go ahead. That means very little to me. It really depends on the production team and distribution and how much that matters to them, because it's in varying degrees. I'm very vocal and very honest how that means nothing to me. Every casting person is going to have a different response to that. Now, remember, I work the majority of my producing and casting in the micro budget indie space. So we're not really looking for that name. Yes, a name would be wonderful. Yes, we will attempt to attach names and all of that, but that's not the deal breaker. And a lot of times I'll advocate for the actor who isn't the name, because I think that they have something better or different or special to bring them the name does without the headache. So
very good.
Every casting office is going to respond to this differently. So I have to give a disclaimer. It's my opinion, and it's not that deep.
Cool.
Okay.
Next question. This is from Lara Fox. Lara asks, what's the best way to approach agents or managers for representation?
Put your gifts out in the marketplace. Be in a play. Do a showcase that has a good reputation, or that has other people in the showcase that they're happy with their representation. Talk to your peers. Many agents will see you based on client referral if they have a great relationship with that client. So the way to get their attention is, my first choice is do great work and inspire somebody to wait for you after the show to say, do you have an agent? Because that does happen. And number two, talk to your friends that maybe are a little bit further along, or they seem to be content with their representation. And if you have a genuine, positive human relationship, friendship with them, that's very common that you'll be seen that way. In terms of, contacting them and all of that, it has to be in the context. So it has to be a referral, or they saw your work. Again, you can't shortcut the value of being a master. I will say it 100 times. You just can't minimize the value of being a master at your craft. That's it.
Cool. And also, because you're a talent agent previously, in a previous life, this is something that you did for so long.
Exactly. And the thing is, I've been doing this, 20 plus years, and I'm still not comfortable. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still very much aware and present of the value of alliances and relationships, and going that extra mile to do a good enough job as a casting person and producer to be invited for the next project. I think that's why I'm always working.
Yeah. And that you're also, again, we've known each other for a long time, but your personality and who you are, it makes people want to work with you, Liz.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, if they can't get past this, then it's an easy filter. Like, if you can't get past this, then we're not going to work together. Then I'm not your girl. It's like dating. But if you can dig all of this, then I'm your girl, and I will work to the ends of the earth to cast your film and help produce it beautifully. That I can be very confident.
Awesome. Excellent. Hey, next question. This is from Laval. Laval asks, during an audition, is it more important to be off book, or do you also cast talent who use sides during an audition?
The answer is yes to both. But I do want to say, it does make a difference. Like, we'll notice if we are seeing a bunch of people for the same role, it does make an appreciable difference if you're the one that's off book and really can dig a little bit deeper. Not that people on book don't get cast, but if you got a call back, you best be off book, I feel. if you're called back, especially for a film. And the other thing that I would say is when you are off book because you are really invested in performing this character and acting this character, you're not auditioning, you're acting this role in this space, in this moment, your way, because you can, because you got the appointment, right? When you're off book and you're fully engaged with being very present, it allows for that magic thing to happen in an audition, which is more rare than common, and that's for discovery. And what I mean by that is that we will recognize, it's like watching a play, we will recognize that you're so in the moment that we are invested and we do that lean in. That's when we do the lean in, right? We're all behind the table, we do that lean in because you're discovering some real moments in that audition. That really can happen more when you're off book than when you're on book.
Totally agree. And I've been in casting sessions where I've seen that. And also when you can take, I always feel when you can take what's written on the page and either put a new spin on it or you fully bring it to life.
Yes. Make choices.
Yes.
Don't play it safe. Make intelligent choices, because at your first go round, there's no right or wrong. And if you just make a choice and make a truthful choice that makes sense, not a random choice. And because we're going to catch it. And when you get adjusted, please don't think it's a correction. If you are told, well, thank you so much for coming in, it could mean, oh my God, that person's so in the money, we're going to call them back. Or it could mean, not for us today. You don't know what that means, So don't try to go into other people's minds. Be present. Know that material. Be super comfortable. If you need to hold on to it because it makes you feel more comfortable and it grounds you, fine. But really, really be invested in knowing the material, knowing what's going on. Otherwise, I'll put a little note next to your name that will say underprepared. And that's a little bit of a red flag.
Yeah. And you don't want also that coming back to your agent, especially continuously.
Yeah. And the thing is, I do take notes. So as a courtesy to the agents and managers, so that if they want to know about any constructive feedback, I'm not just saying, oh, they were great. That doesn't help anybody. But for me to say, well, they were really engaged when the director was speaking, or there was somebody that we really, just the other day, casting this film at your place, that somebody came in, loved them, but they took up so much energy in the room. We're like, we'd rather work with the other actor that's almost as good, but isn't that high maintenance.
Good point.
So your personality and your vibe means more than you could even imagine, one way or the other.
Yeah. The audition is the job interview. If we don't want to work with you as the actor, as the personality, that says a lot.
Yeah. And we also, especially during callbacks, we'll have the camera rolling, whether you know it or not. We're going to just have nice chit chat. It's not chit chat. It's the personality portion. Or can we be in bed with this person for 6 weeks? I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
says a lot. Fantastic. Yeah. All right. Here's another kind of similar. This is actually, no, I'm going to go on to another one. Short sweet. This is from Lane Karras. Lane asks, how do you feel about actors with tattoos?
You know what? If it makes sense for the role, rock it out. As a matter of fact, one supporting role that I cast several years ago, this actress had this amazing tattoo on her back. It kind of worked for the character, and I think it's one of the reasons why we chose her over the other person that she was sort of in a photo finish with. So I think if it lends itself for the character, great. If it's a period piece and that didn't happen during, Elizabethan times, then get some cover mark, go to Sephora and get, cover that up. So do you? I mean, you can't walk into an audition expecting us to suspend our disbelief. if you don't kind of help us along and that we're not distracted. And as long as we're not distracted by it, it might be something, it might be a nice detail that we like. So it depends on the part.
Cool. Fantastic. Hey, we're going to get into speed rounds now. All right, Liz. So
Okay.
just answer the questions with a couple of sentences. Next up, this is from Mike Hambrick. Liz, do you accept recorded video auditions?
Absolutely. That's the answer.
Excellent.
Yep.
Very good. Next one. This is from Laura Fox again. What do you suggest is the best use of actors' time and money when they're new to New York City? Which classes, showcases, products should we invest in?
All right. Well, go to Actors Connection, 1. 2, and I would say, you know, try to volunteer at different theaters, different off-Broadway theaters. Just own that you're part of the community. Done, you know. And the Fringe Festival's coming up in August. They always need volunteers. Just immerse yourself in the community.
Love it. Next one. This is from Raphael Maliki. How often can you help upcoming actors achieve their goals in the industry?
Every day that I breathe. Seriously.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Again, giving an actor either an audition or that first opportunity to work.
All the above.
Love it. Next one.
Actually,
yeah.
If I read my book, Ace Your Acting Audition, filled with tips. That's how I can help actors every day. Drama Bookshop, Amazon. Shameless plug. 2nd edition, Ace Your Acting Audition. All right, go.
Highly recommend it. Next up, this is from Mikhail Wright Matos. The casting director had the final say on booking a job.
Child, I wish. No, and you know what? It really depends. It's on a sliding scale. It depends on the decision maker. It depends what the person cutting checks. I have been a glorified secretary where I've had very little say. I just had to put everything together. Or I have been a producer where I had a lot of say and everything else in between. I would say maybe with background work or some little supporting principal work, casting people will have the final say. It varies from project to project, but for lead roles and supporting, it's always a decision by committee.
But the thing to remember is you're the person initially calling them in. The casting director is who brings them in.
Thank you for saying that. The authority that I have is, yes, what you just said, Tony, to bring them in. And 2, let's say you didn't do your best, but it's callback. I can fight for you if I believe in you and get you that callback. That I've done many times. And I will call you on the phone and say, don't you make me look bad because I went up to bat for you. You know, I will do that.
Excellent. Hey, next question. This is from Kara. She says, thank you for your time, Liz. When scouting for talent for upcoming projects, how heavily do you refer to IMDb? Is having an IMDb pro page a necessary tool for actors, in your opinion?
I'm going to be very honest with you. I only use IMDb if I have mandates for looking for specific recognizable name talent. Other than that, I'm not looking. I might check. I might cross-reference people that we're interested in for credits and things like that. I might cross-reference based on your resume. So I think it is helpful to have an IMDb pro page when we're cross-referencing, but your stuff is going to be up there anyway based on whatever film work you've done. So I think it's really your choice. But I will use it as a research tool, but it's not a deal breaker for non-name talent.
Very good. Next question. This is from M. Versandi. And they ask, hey, Liz, can you suggest any coaches or continuous acting programs? I've been told the one-off workshops are not considered training and should not go on your resume.
That's true, because those, you're not really being taught by where you're doing an interview in a meet and greet. And so I feel any of the reputable training programs that are out there, I think talk to fellow actors out of respect for Actors Connection. I don't really want to name other individuals or places. I would say talk to actors that are a little bit further along, like I said in a previous answer, and get recommendations. And yeah, I don't think you should put the one-offs as training, because it's not training. It's more inside information. Training is a whole other, that's education. It's a whole other category.
Correct. So. Very good. Going up, this is back to Laval. Laval asks, when an actor comes in to audition for a role, like an FBI agent, doctor, preppy guy, businessman, should they come dressed somehow similar to the character, or should they just come dressed as themselves?
Great question. I say meet in the middle. A little bit of detail goes a long way. Like if you're going in for a business guy, I don't want to see you in a t-shirt and flip-flops. You know, but you could wear a pair of jeans, a t-shirt, and a jacket, a sport coat. You know, what is it? A suit jacket. You can do that. So detail is good. You don't, if you're playing a doctor, you don't have to wear a lab coat, but you know, that doesn't bother me either. I think have the essence of the tax bracket that person is in, and work from there.
Fantastic advice. Hey, going back to the chat room, we got Stephen Booth asks, when you've seen an actor who once gave a so-so audition, how likely are you to bring them back even though they've improved drastically?
I would have to have evidence of that improvement. Firsthand, I would have to have seen them in a show, something. I would need to be proven otherwise. There's so many wonderful people out there, too many wonderful people out there, and not enough audition appointments. It's very unlikely that I would bring somebody back unless I had firsthand evidence that they grew and they did great work, or that maybe I saw a film that they were in on Netflix or something and reconsidered. There would have to be, their case would need to be stated really strongly for me to change my mind.
Cool. Another quick question, and we're wrapped up here. This is from Kelly Alondra Cantoro. I'm going to kind of abbreviate this question. Kelly's interested in auditioning for you and is wondering, what are some upcoming project roles you're working on? Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. And and ignore the phone ringing in the background. Okay. Right now, I'm just wrapping up a very Latino-centric film. We're pretty much done with the casting for that, and hopefully in the early fall, I'm working on a new project. I tend to post on Actors Access to be as generous to the community as possible. So what you can do is see if you fit the description. Just don't randomly, freestyle it. Be specific, and then put a note. I heard you on the InterAct webinar, and I asked this question. That is enough for me to take a look. Doesn't mean I'm going to bring you in, but I would take a look.
Fantastic. Hey, Liz, thank you so much for your time today. You know, I always love getting just to spend time chatting and talking, and really value your advice. And
my pleasure.
Yeah, it's such an honor. So, hey, for everybody who's watching our broadcast today, thank you actually for being on this broadcast, for watching. As a special gift, if you would like to actually connect with Liz via acinteract.com, you can actually take 20% off to connect with Liz, send her your demo, clips that you would actually like her to give feedback on, and you can actually do that at this date. So in just a few minutes, we'll post a discount code to take 20% off to actually connect with Liz via acinteract.com. And as you can see, she's going to give you fantastic feedback, very in-depth feedback. Have you enjoyed being part of that service, Liz?
You know, I actually really have. I'm pleasantly surprised, because to me, I'm just doing my job. I'm looking at the material through the lens of my level and standard of being professional for myself, right? I'm not really thinking twice about it. And I've been so touched by the follow-up feedback that I've gotten, where somebody changed the order of their reel and it made a difference, or somebody got a perspective that didn't occur to them, or just very gracious and very heartwarming. That to me is just another day at the office, so to speak, that had the impact that it's had. So I would say in that regard, it's extremely gratifying.
That's wonderful.
So that's great.
You're bringing your specialty and your unique point of view.
And I'm very honest. What's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, again, Liz, thank you for your time today. Always appreciate it. And for everybody watching, our next webinar will be with Michelle Cotullo from Brett Goldstein Casting. That'll be happening in mid-August, and we'll be posting those dates very soon. Liz, thank you again for your time.
Bye, honey.
Bye,
guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.